Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Starting the name of Almighty Allah, the most gracious and merciful. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I'm starting the chapter 2, structure of atom. In this chapter, inshallah, we will discuss on the contributions of different scientists on the atom, and we'll discuss the discovery of atom, the different theories related to the atom and the atomic structure. Then after discussing the theories, we will proceed on the structure of an atom, and we'll discuss the isotopes. After isotopes, we will compare different isotopes and compare the structures, and at the end of the chapter we will inshallah uh, talk on the electronic configuration, and we will draw different configurations. So let me start the chapter. Dear students, in the previous time there was a mystery about the atom. No one know about the composition of matter, and it was always a mystery to the scientist. To resolve this mystery, different scientists, philosophers, and different researchers worked for the centuries, and after a long time, a philosopher, Democritus, worked from the years of from the years are 460 to 370 BC. In this time duration, Democritus worked, and the first time suggested that all matter can be ultimately broken down into small tiny particles, and these particles cannot be further divided. So the Democritus gave name atom. He called that these tiny particles are atoms. From the word atom means indivisible particles, and the word atom is derived from the Greek word atomos, and atomos give meaning of indivisible particles. So in this unit we will learn about the development of atomic model and concepts like isotopes and electronic configuration in detail. So there are some of the theories related to the discovery of the atom and its particles, and the theories relating the electrons, protons, and neutrons. Uh, so students, different scientists use the word atom, but till 19th century no work has been done on it. And in 400 BC, a scientist known as the John Dalton, who worked and performed his experiments, from his experiments he concluded that the matter must be composed of tiny particles which are like solid balls and cannot be further divided. Till 370 BC, Democritus talked on the atom, and he opens the mystery that matter is composed of atom, and after his no one worked on the atom, but after the time of 19th century scientists worked on this mystery, and a scientist known as John Dalton concluded that atom consists of small particles which are like the solid balls and they cannot be further divided. He called them atoms, and he presented his theory under the title A New System of Chemical Philosophy. The name of the name of the theory of John Dalton was A New System of Chemical Philosophy, and he gave some of the postulates, and he gave his A New System of Chemical Philosophy theory in 1808, and some of the main postulates of these theories are: matter is composed of very small particles called the atom. The second postulate is atom is an indivisible particle. From indivisible means that cannot be divided further. Okay, and the third postulate is atom can neither be created nor be destroyed. It means that an atom is a thing that is present already and no one can create it and cannot be destroyed. Okay, it can be converted from one form to another and can be converted, and it can be used as a precursor, it can be used as a monomers, and from this we can make the compounds or large molecules but cannot destroy it. Okay, and the fourth postulate is atoms of particular elements are identical in size, shape, mass, and also in other properties. Because students, we know that an element is the pure form of substance. Okay, an element is the pure form of substance that cannot be broken down into simpler compounds, or that cannot be broken down into more simpler substance by any ordinary physical or chemical process. From substance we mean an anything consists of pure form of matter. A pure form of, or the piece that consists of pure form of matter, is known as substance. So we can say that if an element is pure, then its atoms will be pure. So we can say that if atoms are same, then they will be same in size, shape, and mass, and also they will behave same as their neighboring atoms behave. So the fifth postulate is atoms of different elements are different in their properties. Means that atoms of hydrogens are different from the atom of oxygen. Okay, and the sixth postulate is atoms combine with each other in small whole number ratios. And we know that, students, we know that whenever atoms combine, they form the elements and they form the compounds. Whenever atoms different atoms or whenever different elements combine, atoms of different elements combine together, they form a compound. And we know that compounds are formed by a fixed whole ratios and fixed mass. And the seventh postulate is All the chemical reactions are due to combination or separation of atoms. Students, we know that whenever a chemical reaction is going to proceed, then some of the elements or some of the atoms are combined and they will form a new element or new compound. From this we means that elements form a product by the combination of atoms, or whenever whenever we need of a monomer, then larger compounds are broken down into simpler substances or simpler atoms, simpler molecules. From this we can say that whenever a chemical reactions are proceed, then there will be the combination or separation of atoms occur. Okay. After the John Dalton, a very cream scientist known as the Rutherford came in the field of chemistry in 1911 and performed his experiments in order to know the arrangement of electrons, protons in an atom. From his experiments, he also discovered the nucleus. Therefore, we can say it as the discovery of nucleus, or we can say the Rutherford's experiments. In 1911, Rutherford performed his experiment to determine the internal structure of atom. For this purpose, he used a thin gold foil and surround it with the photographic plate, and or he used a zinc sulfide for surrounding the gold foil, and he used a fluorescent screen to detect the particles emitting from the radiation. In his experiment, he bombarded some of the alpha particles on the gold foil from a radioactive source. Students, a radioactive source is a source that emit the radiations. And here in his experiment, he used the polonium metal as a radioactive source, and polonium is a radioactive element. He observed that in his experiment he observed that the most of the alpha particles pass through gold foil without any change in direction. When he bombarded the alpha particles on the gold foil, then most of the particles without any change or without change in any direction and move and pass away. From his he means that the most of the spaces in the atom is empty. Most of the spaces are empty, and then he observed that some of the alpha particles deflect back with the smaller angles, and only two alpha particles bounced back at their original way. Then he think and concluded that, and he think why some of the particles move without any deflection or without showing any reaction, and some of the particles move with and bounce back with the small angles. Some of particles bounce with their same original position. uh, and after his conclusion, he said that an atom contains a positive portion, mm, and in this portion small particles are present which are positive in charge. So he called this central portion of the atom as nucleus. So alpha particles passing near this portion were repelled because alpha particles are so positively charged particles, and similar part and we know that the similar charges repel each other. When he passed the alpha particles from the gold foil and he bombarded the alpha particles, and alpha particles bounce back from the nucleus. From the bouncing back of the alpha particles, he concluded that alpha particles are positively charged, and it is understood that there is the presence of positively charged particles that repelling the alpha particles. And from this repelling of alpha particles, he concluded that in the nucleus of the atom there is the presence of positively charged particles, and these positively charged particles are protons. And he think if alpha particles are very closely to the nucleus, they deflected through large angles. Similarly, if these particles do not pass close to the nucleus, they either get deflected through very small angles or do not get deflected at all. On the basis of these observations and these phenomena, he concluded that uh, and he concluded a planetary model. And he concluded a planetary model from the word planet, that in the solar system planets are revolving around the sun, same as electrons are revolve around nucleus, that electrons are revolving same as planets revolve around the sun. And electrons move in the orbits around the nucleus, while planets move their orbits move in their orbits around the sun. Now I am discussing with you people the main points of Rutherford's atomic model, the what he concluded and what are the main points of his experiments. So the first one is atom consists of positively charged central portion called the nucleus. It contains the protons and neutrons. Students, he conclude this point from the observation when he bombarded alpha particles at the nucleus, and these particles come back and bounced back by the positively charged particles. From that bouncing back of alpha particles, he concluded that positively charged central portion called the nucleus. Okay. The second main point is that electrons are revolving around the nucleus with a very high speed, just like planets around the sun. He concluded this point from the point when the alpha particles move with smaller, will bounce back with the smaller angle, and alpha particles move away without any obstacle or without any bouncing back. Now, the third one is electrons revolve around the nucleus would require centripetal force. The attractive force of nucleus on electrons provide the centripetal force to the electrons. Students, so the centripetal force is the type of force which revolves the things, or which revolves the bodies around the circular path or around in the circular path. Okay. uh, the fourth one is the size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the size of the atom, and most of the volume occupied by atom is empty. And the fifth one is atom is a neutral particle, as the number of electron is numerically equal to that of protons. And the sixth one is the nucleus is responsible for mass and energy of the atom, because nucleus consists of neutrons and protons. Okay. Now we point out some of the defects of Rutherford's atomic model. The Rutherford has some defects in his atomic model, in his theory, that Rutherford atomic model resembles to our solar system. It has some of the defects regarding the comparison of solar system to the charged particle. The Rutherford atomic model is based on the laws of motion and the gravitational laws. And actually, students, these laws are applicable to the neutral bodies and not on the charged bodies. That the planets are neutral bodies, but an atom is a charged. An atom contains charged particles. So these laws cannot be applicable on the charged bodies. The second point that is known as the defect of Rutherford model is that according to the Maxwell theory, electrons are charged bodies revolving around the nucleus and should emit the continuous energy. The electrons will move on the circular path and ultimately fall in the nucleus. However, it does not happen. That the Maxwell theory says that electrons, when move in the circular path, they continuously emit energy. And we know that if a body contains energy, then if it is full of energy and it is continuously radiating energy and continuously releasing its energy, with the time, with the passage of time, the energy become decreases. A time comes when the energy of that body will be zero, and it will be fall. Same case here discussed in the Maxwell theory, that electrons are charged particles and charged bodies revolving around the nucleus, and they will continuously emit energy, and electrons will move on the circular path and ultimately fall in the nucleus. it is about the Maxwell theory, but in the real it does not happen. And third one is, if electrons radiate energy continuously, then they should form the continuous spectrum. But actually, a line spectrum is obtained from the experiments, from different experiments performed by the researchers. And the fourth one is, it does not provide any explanation. If from it means the Rutherford's experiments does not provide any explanations or any detail about the chemical properties of the elements. Students, these are some of the points and some of the main concepts that are not explained in the Rutherford atomic model, and therefore known as the defects of Rutherford atomic model. So students, watch this video and show me your response, and after watching this video, send me your feedback, and also you can send me your questions regarding this topic. Thank you.